I'm sure you can guess that this next video is about 7 o'clock, a las siete. We're only going up to 9 o'clock, so we're almost done. A las siete is great because it has the same structure that we use in English. We start with a V1, and then we have como, donde, cuando, or quién, and those have accents this time. And then we have V2, which is either in the infinitive if the subject is the same, or in the indicative if the subject is different. It sounds easy, and it looks easy too. I'll show you an example. So in the first sentence we have yo no sé cómo cantar. The V1 is sé, and the V2 is cantar. The reason why cantar is in the infinitive is because the subject of the sentence is yo in both parts of the sentence. I don't know how to sing. In the second sentence we have él no sabe cuándo tú regresas. There's a change in subject because in the first part of the sentence we have él, and the second part of the sentence we have tú. That means that the verb regresar needs to be conjugated in the indicative. Here are more examples. Vamos a ver quién es más listo. We're going to see who's the smartest. In this sentence, we have two separate subjects because the first part of the sentence is in the nosotros form, and the second part of the sentence is quién, which is in the el, ella, usted form because we're not really sure who is the smartest. In the second sentence, we have ellos no saben dónde aparcar. They don't know where to park. They don't know where they're parking. Means that the subject is the same throughout the whole sentence. That's why aparcar is in the infinitive. And then finally we have yo no sé qué hacer. I don't know what to do. The subject of the sentence is yo in both parts of the sentence, so hacer stays in the infinitive. Que is one of the words that works a las siete. I don't think I had it on the list, so I apologize for that. There's a way to tell if something works a las siete. And to do that, all you have to do is separate the sentence into a question and an answer. If it's possible, then the sentence is a las siete. For example, in the first one, we're going to see who is smarter. You can ask the question, ¿Quién es más listo? And the answer is, vamos a ver. In the second sentence, you can ask, ¿Dónde aparcan ellos? And they don't know the answer, so it's, ellos no saben. And then finally, you can ask the question, ¿Qué hago? What do I do? Yo no sé. If you can make a question and an answer out of the sentence, then it works a las siete. You'll see here in the rules that there's also a G that works a las siete. It's G4. And G4 just goes right next to a V2. And V2 has the same options, either infinitive or indicative. These are the rules for G4. The only verbs from type 1, the only amime verbs that fit into G4 are importar and interesar. The other ones don't work. There are no verbs from type 2 that work with G4, so not ser and not estar. And finally, the verbs that are type 3 and type 4 that work with G4 are verbs that express an explanation or a perception. Here is a list of those verbs. Aconsejar, to suggest or advise. Acordar, to remember. Comprender, to understand. Comprobar, to check. Considerar, to consider. Darse cuenta de, to realize. Decir, to say or to tell. Entender, to understand. Explicar, to explain. Hablar de, to talk about. Notar, to notice. Observar, to observe. Olvidarse de, to forget. Pensar, to think. And preguntar, to ask. Here are some examples of G4s. The first one is preguntar, to ask. Me preguntaron dónde estaba el baño. They asked me where the bathroom was. There's a different subject in both parts of the sentence. The first subject is ellos, ellas, ustedes. The second subject is el, ella, usted, el baño. In the second sentence, we have observamos cómo viven los italianos. We observe how the Italians live. The first subject is nosotros, and the second subject is the Italians. So since there's a change in subject, viven, el V2, is conjugated in the indicative. In the third sentence, we have me dijeron cómo llegar al museo. They told me how to get to the museum. This is the same structure as in English, because in English we say how to get to the museum, not how I get or how they get to the museum.